Welcome to part 1 of how we met. Our other video got accidentally deleted. So here is part 1. We explain the beginning of the bumpy ride of how we came to be together.
Everybody thinks it's really smooth and romantic, and it really was.
It was not that.
No, but.
And this is what it was.
Yep.
Begin.
Whoa. I did.
By accident.
Yeah, it was accident.
It was accident.
Can we take a second for this color coordination situation?
It was actually unintentional.
So it was our first year of college when we met.
In New York City.
It was probably a month into school or something. It probably took me 2 months to tell Chella this when we first started talking or like dating. I don't know, I was kind of like nervous about saying this because I didn't want you to think I was weird. Before we had met, I like saw Chella just like randomly. I was with my friend going to the cafeteria and I was like walking probably to get some orange juice. And then I like see this really tall bald person and I'm like, whoa. And it was Chella. You just like walked past me and then I just went on doing my thing. Later on, when I told Chella was actually in class, like over here, and the cafeteria is here, so that's why he was there. That was the first time I saw Chella.
But I actually don't remember any of this, or I don't, whenever I'm in class, I'm like really doing my own thing and just like really focused on what I'm doing, so I just like don't notice anything around me, really. So, okay, we both have different versions of how the first time we met and introduced each other went down. I'll begin my version, the right version first. So, set the scene. Classic. It was a classic Bushwick college party, first year. Like it was one of those parties that happened every single weekend. You know, if you were first year, you would be there. So, of course, there I was on my way to this party. And walked into this party, looked around this room, I didn't know anyone. In my head, I was like, okay, you don't know anyone? Who's the coolest person in this room? Go up to that person. Of course, MaryV Benoit was in that room. And of course, she was the coolest person. And yeah, so I went up to her. I don't remember like the exact initiation of the conversation. I do remember her introducing herself and her being like MaryV, and I was like, MaryV? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, that's cool. That's a cool name. And so, like, obviously, in my head, I was like, this girl is really cute. And, like, I remember looking at her freckles. I was looking down because she's so small. After we introduced ourselves to each other, it was like a 2-minute, 3-minute conversation, not long. And then we got split up. And then, like, you know, what continued the night throughout like the rest of the party, and eventually we ended up in the same room later when the party was basically over. I was about to leave, a little tipsy, not that tipsy, just a little bit, but talking to this girl again who I thought was really cute. She was in the same exact spot I left her, which I thought was kind of strange, but I was glad to see her. And then I was like, okay, Chella, you cannot leave this party without asking this girl out. I remember leaning against the wall, leaning like this, and then she was facing me, leaning against the wall, and I was like, so, this is really crazy, but would you like to go out with me sometime? And she was like, oh yeah, sure. And I was like, oh cool, okay. And then my friends called me, and then I left the party. The first time we met, I don't know why I'm still talking.
So this is my version of the night I met Chella Man.
The wrong version.
We should do a poll, actually. Who do you think is right? Okay, so it was September 16th, 2016.
Okay, wait, you're throwing in those dates. They're gonna be like, oh, well, obviously MaryV is right because she knows the dates and everything.
So here's the reason why I know the date and the time, because I have photos from that night.
Photographer.
If you just look at my camera roll, I just like have all these random photos, and it's because like I want to remember these certain things. So it was my first like New York City party. So probably insert the photos at some point. So I was with my friends and we had been invited to this first year party in Bushwick. I guess we showed up really early because no one was really there except for the people hosting the party. The guy that had invited us was introducing us around, and one of the people that lived in the house was a photographer. He was showing me his work on like this huge iPhone 8, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a huge phone. And I'm like looking at his work and stuff, and then he like disappears. I'm like holding this super talented photographer's like iPhone 8, and like people start to show up and everything. And I was just like kind of looking around for him. And then I go into this room, the room that Chella was talking about. The room. I end up finding the guy, giving him his phone back, and I see the guy that had invited me and my friends talking to Chella. And I was like, oh, there's that like tall, bald person. I want to tell them that I like their hair. So I just like walked up, and I like knew this person, so it wasn't weird. And the first thing I said to Chella was, oh, I like your hair.
I didn't have hair.
Started talking just about school and like what classes we were taking, and that's when we like introduced ourselves. Well, then Chella like had told me his name, and I was like, well, that's a cool name. Thank God I didn't say like the Coachella thing, because I like thought it, but good thing I didn't say it out loud. I get that so much. Chella's like friends from the class that he was telling me about showed up, and they started talking about their class, so then I left to find my other friends. And the party went on, and by this time it's like midnight, 1 in the morning. One of my friend's roommate got really sick because he like drank too much, so I was taking care of him and making sure he was okay and giving him water and stuff. And we were back in that room, the room. There was a bed in this room because it was someone's bedroom, so I like told him to lay down and everything. There's like this passed out guy on the bed, and like right next to him were these two people just like making out intensely. And I was like, oh my God, I have to take a photo. Insert photo. Here we are. And then Chella was like standing over here, and we just like kind of laughed at the situation. And I was like, oh yeah, like I'm taking care of my friend because he's sick. We were leaning against this wall. I was leaning on like this side, and Chella was like in front of me, and I was like looking up at him. And that was when you told me that you were deaf.
Yeah, I think I made her repeat a lot of things, and usually when that happens, at that point I'm like, oh, this is why.
And then it like got quiet for a second, and Chella was like, this is random, but
I said this is crazy.
No, you said random.
Okay, well, on that thing I guess I messed up.
You said, this is random, but do you want to go out sometime? And in my head, I was like...
At the time that I asked her out, it was pre-testosterone, and I identified as a girl. So when MaryV talks about this moment, she'll be using she, her pronouns and saying I was a girl, which I'm completely okay with. That's how I wanted to be addressed back then, yeah.
So in my mind, after Chella said this to me, I was like, okay. So a bunch of thoughts went through my mind, and I was like, oh, okay, this girl like definitely just wants to be friends or something, and just like wants to, I don't know, hang out or something. But then I was like, wait, did I just get asked out? I don't really know. And I was like really nervous, and I was like, okay, this person just wants to be friends. So I was like, yeah, let's, like, can I have your number? And then we like exchanged our numbers. At the time, the rose emoji was like my thing. So like anytime I like put my name in someone's phone, I would put like the rose emoji in between like my first and last name. So I had texted Chella a rose emoji, and then Chella texted me back a rose emoji, and I was like, what's happening?
Like this video, if you have had a moment like this as a queer person. I
think I was just like so frazzled by the whole thing. So I was like, do you know if there's a bathroom? Like, do you know where the bathroom is? And Chella like took me to the bathroom, and then I like, walked out of the bathroom, and Chella was gone. So I walked out of the party to find my friends, and then I like talked to my friends. I don't know if I just like got asked out by a girl, but I don't know what to do. So here's the big thing.
Drum roll, please.
So at that time, I identified as straight. You made me realize.
I made you realize.
Which is cool. Yay. So yeah, the first date.
MaryV did not even know it was a freaking date.
I was so confused.
MaryV was still, I was like flirting with her, and like she just was like, oh wow, this person is so friendly.
I was
It
confused.
was a bumpy ride.
That's the story of the first night we met.
But now, the first date, which she didn't know was a date, which first started out as a group date, and then it turned into an actual date, which you still didn't know was a date, and ended in me thinking was a date. Almost kissing you, but not kissing you because you seemed very nervous and walking away. Now, to begin that, I will begin that. We plan to hang out.
It was a Saturday. Because we had like a busy week throughout the school week, because we were both like really busy.
Okay.
So we planned to hang out
We did.
on a weekend.
On the weekend. So, and before that morning, like, of course, we were going to eat breakfast. I went with my friends from our dorm to the caf at, our school. And we got our stuff and sat down, and then suddenly my friend, like, looks up and shouts, MaryV! And I was like, oh no. And I look up, and MaryV too, like, had decided to get food at the caf, and we weren't really supposed to see each other.
Yeah, like that awkward thing where you plan to hang out with someone like later in the day, but then you see them beforehand.
Yeah.
It's like so weird, and you're like, I wasn't ready to see you yet.
We were immersed in that. MaryV was like,
Okay.
yeah.
I walked over because I wasn't gonna be like, oh my gosh.
And at the time, I thought it was weird. She had like 3 cartons full of food. She sat down, looking really uncomfortable next to me, like we weren't touching at all. We were like this, and I was sitting here like this, and she was just over here, and she had like food piled on top of food, and I was like, what? Why? Like, why does she have this?
The reason why I was like so uncomfortable is because like I just thought Cello was so cool.
I thought I was like making you so uncomfortable, and like,
No, I just thought you were really cool and I wanted to be your friend.
you didn't even look at me.
Because I don't know. Looking back, I was coming to terms with
Sexuality?
with my sexuality,
Okay.
and I was just like,
Yeah,
So
you
all
were.
of it was confusing and scary.
Anyway, why did you have all the food?
Because I don't like my food touching. I got like different cartons to like separate it, If you get a hash brown and fruit, you don't want that to touch. So that's why. So we sat down. I was with my friend. We were just like all kind of talking while everyone
But
else
not
was
us.
kind of talking.
Everyone was talking but me and MaryV
Yeah.
because we were both like, It was like a middle school dance or something. And then your friend spoke up and was
Yeah.
like, there's this photo gallery.
Yeah, and then it was like, you guys should come to it, because my friend and I were gonna go, and then I was gonna meet Cello later on in the day. He like invited everyone, and I was like, oh, okay, great, our hangout can start early.
Right now.
Right now, yeah.
And we were both like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and
Alright. So
like,
we like went
change.
as like a group.
Yeah.
And like, see, in my mind, I thought, okay, like this is starting out as like a group thing, but like we're like kind of on a date. And in her mind, it was just a group thing because apparently it wasn't a date, and she was straight, and that was that. We walk off the subway, and I remember walking with you. There's photos of us.
Yep, there's photos of us as well.
Okay, it was in Williamsburg, and I remember like walking next to her, and like we go to this photo gallery, and I just remember walking around with her for a little bit. But the real date starts where we branch off from like the friend group, and I'm like, we didn't really know what to do,
Yeah.
so we decided to like kind of walk. And we eventually found a park. But while we were walking, and I will remember this, she was walking in front of me. At that moment in time, she had super long hair. She dressed very stereotypically feminine. And I just remember her... Okay, wait. So she was walking in front of me, and like her hair was so long, and it was like a beautiful sunny day, like perfect temperature. And I remember like she like turned around or something, and it was literally like one of those things out of the movie where like someone blows a fucking blow dryer in your face, and like the beautiful girl turns around in slow motion, and like there's like a close up of this girl's face, and everyone's just like, oh my god. Cause that's what I was like in my head. I was like she's so pretty.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. And I remember thinking like her hair is so red. When the light, like direct sunlight hits MaryV's hair, it's like it looks like it's on fire. It's literally so red. I've never seen anything like it. And also her eyes are match that color exactly, which I've never seen either. So I was just like, oh my god. And then I remember thinking in my head, I was like, oh, okay, that's it. Like, this isn't gonna happen. She's so out of my league. Like, this is great. Like, I'm gonna have a great time right now, but like, that's just not gonna happen. She's so beautiful. Anyway, so we found the park and we sat down, and immediately, like, MaryV just like, she's just like,
Because I was like, I
She was
don't know
just
what
so
to
quiet.
say. I don't know what to do. We just like went on this like group hangout. Because my friends were asking me like, oh, do you want us to like stay with you? Or should
They
we
were?
like
I didn't know they
leave?
asked
Yeah,
you.
yeah. They were like
Okay.
asking.
Yeah.
Well, they were like confused as well.
I literally asked you, do you want to go out with me?
Okay, that could. Okay, it's.
That doesn't. I spoke up and I started making conversation with MaryV.
Yeah, and we just like started talking. We probably talked.
We talked for like 2 hours
2
straight,
hours,
maybe.
yeah.
It was just like immediately very easy to talk.
That's when I realized I really like want to dedicate a lot of time to this person. Person is very interesting, a good listener, and like
Ironic.
and really cool and super duper kind. And I could listen to this person for like hours. And
you did.
yeah, yeah. But I just was confused because I didn't know what Chella thought of me or what I exactly thought of Chella.
I mean, I liked you. I knew what I thought about you.
Yeah, but
liked
I
you.
just like, I don't know what to do. But I did know that I like really wanted to spend more time with you.
I knew that
Just,
from
like,
the moment I saw you.
oh my god. That's another thing that's like really memorable. We were like sitting at this park like chess table.
It was made of concrete.
Yeah, it was, yeah. But I was sitting on this side and Chella was sitting in front of me. And Chella was like, yeah, like I wear cochlear implants and explained them to me and was like, you know, when I take them off, I can't hear anything. And like my heart was just like, oh my gosh. I felt like I like wanted to cry, but not because I was like sad or anything, but just because like it was so beautiful the way like Chella told me.
Good cry.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
something MaryV's taught me, that there's different types of crying and it's okay to cry. The reason you are crying doesn't have to be because you're sad. Sometimes it just feels good to cry and it's okay.
Yeah, I remember that like so clearly, and I was like, whoa.
And then we tried to get home, and I was like,
Oh yeah,
"Oh baby,
Chella.
I got this. And I got out the directions, and I was like, all right, so we need to take like the J to the Q to blah blah blah.
Yeah, and Chella had told me that he's been to New York like a lot of times before, so I was like, oh, Chella definitely knows how to like work the subways.
So I went to the subway already and got us lost as hell. It was actually really fun, and we made stories about people on the subway. You know how like when you see someone kind of interesting, you want to create a whole backstory. So we did that all the way until we like got back. So it was actually, I feel like I got to know you a little bit better, and like you were really relaxed and like definitely had a sense of humor, which just made me like you more. And then the whole time though, I was thinking, okay, wait, when we get there, do I kiss her?
Oh my god.
And in her head, she didn't even know if it was a date, so it's a good thing I didn't. And I gave her a
Yeah.
hug.
Yeah, I remember like walking up from the subway, and Chella had to like go that way, and I had to walk that way.
Yeah.
So it was good that we were like walking.
I
separately.
did give you a hug, but
Yeah,
I was like,
but we
don't
like
kiss
hugged,
her.
and I was like, okay, and then I was like, bye.
Yeah, and then that was it. No kiss, a hug, straight, maybe? Who knows? Queer as fuck. Now we're both queer.
Yep.
So that, my friends, is part 1. Stay tuned for part 2.
There's a much more to this story. We
It was
haven't
not
even-
smooth. Okay, we're done.
Yay.